I never thought the last conversation with my mother-in-law would be the one to haunt me for the rest of my life. Have you ever realized too late that someone was trying to save you, not hurt you? Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see family, trust, and the words we ignore until it's too late. I was standing in my kitchen when I got the call. My hands were covered in flour. I was making Michael's favorite apple pie. The phone rang 3 times before I wiped my hands and picked it up. It was my husband, Michael. His voice was shaking. Sarah, Mom's gone. I froze. The rolling pin slipped from my fingers and hit the counter with a dull thud. Gone, that word didn't make sense. I had just seen her 2 days ago. She was fine. She was laughing. She was telling me something important. And I didn't listen. God forgive me, I didn't listen. Michael was crying on the other end. I could hear his sister, Jennifer, sobbing in the background. But all I could hear in my head were her last words to me. The words I rolled my eyes at. The words I thought were just another one of her dramatic warnings. Sarah, when I'm not here anymore, you'll understand everything. Please. Don't hate me for what you're about to find out. I thought she was being overly emotional. I thought she was just being Margaret, my mother-in-law who always had something to say, always had some concern, always seemed to be in my business. I smiled politely, nodded, and changed the subject. Now she was gone, and I had no idea what she meant. The funeral was 3 days later. The whole family gathered. Michael's father had passed years ago, so Margaret was the glue that held everyone together. Now that glue was gone, and I could already feel things starting to crack. Jennifer didn't look at me during the service. That was strange, we were close. Or at least I thought we were. She was my sister-in-law, my friend, the person I called when I needed advice. But that day, she stood on the other side of the room, her eyes red and swollen, and she wouldn't meet my gaze. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. After the burial, we all went back to Margaret's house. It felt wrong being there without her. The smell of her lavender candles, the photos on the wall. Her reading glasses still sitting on the coffee table next to a half-finished crossword puzzle. I walked into the kitchen and saw her handwriting on a notepad by the phone. A grocery list. Milk, eggs, butter, simple things, normal things, things she would never buy now. I started crying. Not the loud, dramatic kind. Just quiet tears that rolled down my face while I stood there staring at her handwriting. Michael came up behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. It's okay, he whispered. She's at peace now. But I wasn't at peace because something felt off. Something felt unfinished. That night Jennifer called me. Her voice was cold, distant. Sarah, we need to talk tomorrow. Just you and me. About what? I asked. There was a long pause. About what Mom wanted you to know. My heart dropped into my stomach. I tried to ask more, but she hung up. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed next to Michael, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation I'd ever had with Margaret. What did she want me to know? What was I about to find out? And why did Jennifer sound so angry? The next morning, I met Jennifer at a small coffee shop downtown. She was already there when I arrived, sitting in the corner booth, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were puffy. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun. I sat down across from her. Jen, what's going on? She didn't say anything at first. She just stared at me. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. It was sealed. My name was written on the front in Margaret's handwriting. She gave this to me a week before she died, Jennifer said quietly. She made me promise to give it to you after the funeral. I stared at the envelope like it was a bomb. What is it? I whispered. Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. It's the truth, Sarah. The truth about everything. My hands were shaking as I took the envelope. I didn't want to open it. Part of me knew that once I did, nothing would ever be the same. But I had to know. I slowly tore open the seal and pulled out a folded letter. Margaret's handwriting filled the page. My vision blurred as I started to read. My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, I'm no longer with you. And I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for what I'm about to tell you. I'm sorry for the pain this will cause. But you deserve to know the truth. You deserve to understand why I said the things I said. Why I watched you so carefully. Why I tried so hard to protect you. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. Michael is not the man you think he is. My heart stopped. I looked up at Jennifer, her face was pale, she was crying. Keep reading, she whispered, and so I did, word by word, line by line. My entire world fell apart in that little coffee shop on a Tuesday morning. Everything I thought I knew, everything I believed, everything I trusted, it was all a lie, and Margaret knew. She had always known. Let me take you back to the beginning, back to when I thought I had the perfect life. I met Michael 6 years ago at a charity event. I was volunteering, serving food to families in need, and he walked in wearing a navy blue suit and the kindest smile I'd ever seen. He didn't look like the type of man who volunteered. He looked successful, polished, out of place in a community center gym, but he sat down with an elderly man and talked to him for an hour. He listened, he laughed, he cared. I was drawn to him immediately. After the event, he came up to me while I was cleaning tables. "You're amazing," he said. "The way you talk to people, you make them feel seen." I blushed. "I just try to help. Most people try," he said. "You actually care, that's rare." We exchanged numbers. 3 months later, we were inseparable. 6 months after that, he proposed. Margaret was thrilled. She hugged me so tight the first time we met. "I've been praying for someone like you," she said. "Someone with a good heart. Someone who will love my son the way he deserves." I felt so welcomed, so loved. Jennifer became my best friend. She was 2 years younger than Michael, bubbly and fun. We went shopping together. We had girls' nights. We told each other everything, or so I thought. The wedding was beautiful, small and intimate. Margaret cried during the vows. Michael's eyes were full of tears when he slipped the ring on my finger. "I'll love you forever," he whispered. And I believed him. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. The first year of marriage was a dream. We bought a little house on Maple Street. It had a white picket fence and a porch swing. I planted roses in the front yard. Michael built me a bookshelf in the living room because he knew how much I loved to read. We talked about having kids. We talked about growing old together. We talked about everything. Margaret visited often. Too often, some might say, but I didn't mind. She brought homemade casseroles and fresh flowers from her garden. She helped me paint the guest bedroom. She taught me how to make Michael's favorite lasagna. But there were moments when I noticed something I couldn't quite name. She would watch Michael carefully. Like she was waiting for something, like she was worried. One time I was washing dishes and I saw her standing in the doorway, staring at him while he watched TV. Her face was sad, almost fearful. "Margaret, are you okay?" I asked. She snapped out of it and smiled. "Oh yes, dear, just thinking." "About what?" She hesitated, then she squeezed my hand. "Just, take care of yourself, Sarah." "Promise me that," I laughed it off. "Of course I will." But she didn't laugh, she just nodded and looked away. There were other little things too. Jennifer would sometimes change the subject when I asked about Michael's past relationships. Margaret would tense up when I mentioned certain friends of his. I told myself I was being paranoid. Michael was wonderful. He brought me flowers every Friday. He kissed my forehead every morning before work. He told me I was beautiful even when I was in sweatpants with no makeup. Why would I doubt him? Then, about 2 years into our marriage, I got pregnant. Michael was overjoyed. He cried when I showed him the test. He called his mom immediately. Margaret cried too. "A grandbaby," she kept saying. "Oh, thank you, God." But a few weeks later I miscarried. It was devastating. I fell into a dark place. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I felt like a failure. Michael tried to comfort me, but he didn't know what to say. He stayed late at work more often. He started going out with friends on weekends. I felt alone. Margaret was the one who sat with me. She came over every single day. She held my hand while I cried. She didn't try to fix it, she just stayed. One afternoon, while we were sitting on the porch, she said something I'll never forget. "Sarah, pain reveals people. Remember that. When life gets hard, you see who someone really is." I didn't understand what she meant. Not then. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. A few months later, I started feeling better. I went back to work. I started smiling again. Michael and I went to counseling. Things seemed to improve, but Margaret's visits became more frequent. And her questions became more specific. Does Michael come home on time? Does he tell you where he's been? Do you check his phone? I thought she was being overprotective, overbearing, even. I started to get annoyed. Margaret, I love you, but Michael is my husband, I trust him. She looked at me with such sadness. I hope you're right, sweetheart, I really do. I brushed it off. I thought she was just one of those mothers who couldn't let go, who couldn't accept that her son was a grown man with his own life. I was wrong. About a year before she died, Margaret started acting strange. She would show up unannounced. She would ask to talk to me alone. She would hint at things but never say them outright. Sarah, if you ever need help, if you ever need to leave, you call me, day or night. Leave, Margaret, what are you talking about? Just promise me, I promised, but I didn't take her seriously. Then 2 weeks before her death, she came over and sat me down at the kitchen table. Her face was pale, her hands were shaking. I need to tell you something, she said. What is it? She opened her mouth, then closed it, then tears filled her eyes. I can't, she whispered. Not yet, but soon, I promise. Margaret, you're scaring me. She grabbed my hands. Just know that I love you, and whatever happens, I tried so hard to protect you. I was so confused, so frustrated. Protect me from what? She didn't answer. She just kissed my forehead and left. That was the last real conversation we had. 2 days later, she was gone. And now I was sitting in a coffee shop, holding a letter that was about to destroy everything. I couldn't breathe. The words on the page swam in front of my eyes. Michael is not the man you think he is. I read the sentence again and again. My hands were shaking so badly that the paper rattled. Jennifer was watching me, waiting. What does she mean? I whispered. What is she talking about? Jennifer wiped her eyes. Keep reading, Sarah, she explains everything. I forced myself to focus on the letter. I've known for 3 years. I found out by accident. I wish I could say I was shocked, but deep down, I think I always knew. Michael has always been good at hiding things. Even as a little boy, he could lie with a straight face. I prayed he would change. I prayed marriage would change him. I prayed you would be enough. But you can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. My stomach turned. He's been unfaithful, Sarah, not once, not twice. Multiple times, with multiple women. I don't know all the details. I don't want to, but I've seen enough. I've heard enough, and I couldn't stay silent anymore. The coffee shop felt like it was spinning. I gripped the edge of the table. No, I said out loud. No, this isn't true. Jennifer reached across the table and grabbed my hand. Sarah, this isn't true. I yanked my hand away. Your mother was confused. She was sick. She didn't know what she was saying. She wasn't sick, Jennifer said firmly. She was heartbroken. She knew what Michael was doing, and it was killing her. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. I stood up. The chair scraped loudly against the floor. People turned to look. I don't believe this, I said. Michael loves me. He would never. Sarah, sit down. No, Jennifer stood up too. Her voice was shaking. Do you think this is easy for me? Do you think I wanted to give you that letter? That's my brother. I've been protecting him my whole life. But I can't anymore. Not after what he did to you. Not after what he put Mom through. Tears were streaming down my face. What are you talking about? Jennifer took a deep breath. The miscarriage, Sarah. Do you remember how distant Michael was? How he stayed late at work, how he went out with friends. He was grieving, I said weakly. He was cheating, Jennifer said, with a woman named Lauren, a coworker. Mom found out because she saw them together at a restaurant. She confronted him. He begged her not to tell you. He swore it was a mistake. He swore it would never happen again. I felt like I was going to be sick. But it did happen again, Jennifer continued. And again, different women, different lies. Mom kept hoping he would stop. She kept thinking he would come to his senses, but he didn't. I sat back down. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. Why didn't she tell me? I whispered. She tried, Jennifer said. She tried so many times. But every time she got close, she would lose her nerve. She didn't want to hurt you. She didn't want to destroy your marriage. She kept hoping you would figure it out on your own. I thought back to all those strange conversations, all those warnings, all those moments when Margaret looked at me with such sadness. She was trying to tell me, and I didn't listen. There's more, Jennifer said quietly. I looked up. More, she nodded. The letter, keep reading. I didn't want to. I wanted to rip it up and walk out and pretend this wasn't happening. But I couldn't. I picked up the letter with trembling hands. I confronted Michael last month. I told him I was going to tell you everything. He begged me not to. He said it would destroy you. He said you were fragile after the miscarriage. He said I would be responsible if something happened to you. And I believed him. God forgive me, I believed him. But then I saw him with another woman last week. Laughing, holding her hand. Kissing her in broad daylight like he didn't have a wife at home. And I realized something. He doesn't love you, Sarah. He loves the idea of you. He loves how you make him look. The perfect wife. The perfect home, the perfect life. But behind closed doors, he's living a completely different life. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. I can't let this continue. I can't watch him destroy you the way he destroyed every relationship he's ever had. So I'm writing this letter. And I'm asking Jennifer to give it to you when I'm gone. I know this will hurt. I know you'll hate me at first. But please, Sarah, open your eyes, look at your bank statements, look at his phone, look at the late nights and the excuses and the distance. You deserve so much better than this. You deserve a man who cherishes you, who honors you, who doesn't make you feel crazy for asking questions. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I'm so sorry I let fear stop me, but I'm telling you now. Please don't ignore this. Don't make excuses for him. Don't stay because you're scared or because you think you can fix him. Leave. While you still can, I love you, sweet girl, more than you'll ever know. Margaret, the letter fell from my hands onto the table. I couldn't see anymore. Everything was blurry. My chest was tight. I couldn't breathe. Jennifer was saying something, but I couldn't hear her. All I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Michael, my Michael, the man who brought me flowers. The man who built me a bookshelf. The man who cried when I lost our baby. He was a stranger. I don't know how long I sat there. Minutes, hours, time didn't make sense anymore. Finally, I looked at Jennifer. What do I do? She shook her head. I don't know, but you can't pretend you don't know anymore. I drove home in a daze. I don't even remember the drive. One minute I was at the coffee shop. The next I was sitting in my driveway, staring at my house. Our house. The house we bought together. The house we painted together. The house where I thought we would raise our children. It all felt like a lie now. I walked inside. Michael was in the living room, watching TV. He smiled when he saw me. Hey, babe. How was coffee with Jen? I stared at him, really looked at him. And for the first time I saw it, the mask, the performance. It was fine, I said quietly. You okay? You look pale. I'm just tired. He nodded and went back to his show. I went upstairs to our bedroom and closed the door. Then I did what Margaret told me to do. I looked. I opened his laptop. I checked his phone records. I went through our bank statements, and I found everything. Hotels, restaurants, gifts I never received, charges I didn't recognize, years of lies, years of betrayal. Right under my nose. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. I sat on the floor of our bedroom and cried until I had nothing left. Margaret was right. She was right about everything. And I didn't listen. I didn't confront him that night. I couldn't. I was too numb, too broken. I crawled into bed next to him and pretended to sleep. He didn't notice. He never noticed. The next morning, I called in sick to work. After Michael left, I sat at the kitchen table with all the evidence spread out in front of me. Bank statements, phone records, receipts. I felt like a detective in my own life. There were charges from hotels in the city, expensive dinners at restaurants we'd never been to together, flowers sent to addresses I didn't recognize. And the phone records, hundreds of texts and calls to the same few numbers, numbers I didn't know. I felt sick. I called Jennifer. I found it, I said. I found everything. She was quiet for a moment. What are you going to do? I don't know. Do you want me to come over? No. I need to do this alone. I spent the entire day going through everything, making lists, taking screenshots, building a case like I was preparing for trial, and in a way I was. When Michael came home that evening, I was ready. He walked in with Chinese takeout and a smile. Thought we could have a quiet night in, he said. I didn't smile back. We need to talk. His face changed, just for a second, a flicker of panic, then the mask was back. About what? Sit down, Michael. He set the food on the counter and sat across from me at the table. Sarah, you're scaring me. What's going on? I slid a stack of papers across the table. Tell me what these are. He glanced at them, his jaw tightened. Where did you get these? That doesn't matter, tell me what they are. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. He shuffled through them slowly. I watched his face, watched him calculate, watched him decide which lie to tell. Sarah, I can explain. Don't, I said. My voice was shaking but firm. Don't lie to me anymore. He looked up. For the first time in our marriage, I saw fear in his eyes. How long? I asked. What? How long have you been cheating on me? The word hung in the air like a grenade. I haven't. Michael, I have proof, I have receipts, I have phone records. I have your mother's letter. His face went pale. My mother, she knew, she tried to tell me, but I didn't believe her, I didn't want to believe her. He stood up. Sarah, listen to me. How long? I shouted. He flinched. I had never raised my voice at him before. Answer me, I was crying now. How long have you been destroying our marriage? He sank back into his chair, and for the first time he didn't try to lie. 3 years, he whispered. The room tilted. 3 years. Our entire marriage was a lie. Who? I asked. Does it matter? Yes, it matters. He ran his hands through his hair. Different people, it didn't mean anything. I laughed. It was a hollow, bitter sound. It didn't mean anything. You spent thousands of dollars on them. You lied to me every single day, and it didn't mean anything. I love you, he said desperately. I've always loved you. You don't know what love is. He reached for my hand. I pulled away. Don't touch me. Sarah, please, let me fix this. I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling. Whatever you want. I shook my head. You should have thought about that before you cheated on me while I was grieving our baby. His face crumpled. That was a mistake. I was in a bad place. We were both in a bad place, I screamed. But I didn't go sleep with someone else. I came home to you every night. I tried to hold our marriage together. And you were out there living a whole other life. Silence. He didn't have an answer. Your mother knew, I said quietly. She knew what you were doing and it broke her heart. She spent the last months of her life trying to protect me, and you let her die thinking her son was a good man. Tears rolled down his face. I didn't want to hurt anyone, but you did. You hurt everyone, your mother, your sister, me. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. I stood up. I want you to leave. Sarah, get out of my house. This is my house too. Then I'll leave. I grabbed my purse and my keys. He stood up. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. I walked out. Got in my car. Drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove. I ended up at Margaret's house. It was empty now, dark, but I still had the key. I let myself in and sat on her couch. The same couch where she used to sit and do her crossword puzzles. The same couch where she held me while I cried about the miscarriage. I'm so sorry, I whispered to the empty room. I'm so sorry I didn't listen. I stayed there all night, curled up on her couch, surrounded by her things, wishing I could hear her voice one more time. The next morning, Jennifer came. She brought coffee and sat beside me. He called me, she said, begging me to talk to you. What did you say? I told him to leave you alone. We sat in silence for a while. I don't know what to do, I finally said. Jennifer looked at me. Yes, you do. I don't. You do, Sarah, you're just scared, and that's okay, but deep down you know. She was right, I did know. I couldn't stay with someone who had betrayed me over and over. Someone who lied to my face. Someone who let his own mother die with a broken heart. But knowing what to do and having the strength to do it are two different things. What if I'm making a mistake? I whispered. What if you're not? Jennifer said. What if leaving is the bravest, smartest thing you ever do? I thought about Margaret, about her letter, about her last words to me. When I'm not here anymore, you'll understand everything. I understood now. I understood that she loved me enough to tell me the truth, even though it hurt. I understood that she tried to save me. I understood that she saw what I refused to see. And I wasn't going to let her sacrifice be in vain. I'm leaving him, I said out loud. Jennifer squeezed my hand. Good. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. The next 2 weeks were the hardest of my life. I moved out of our house and stayed with Jennifer. Michael called constantly, texted, emailed, begged, but I didn't answer. I hired a lawyer. Filed for divorce. Started untangling our finances. It was exhausting, painful, devastating, but it was necessary. One evening, about a month after I left, Michael showed up at Jennifer's door. She tried to send him away, but I told her it was okay. We sat on the front porch. It felt safer, more neutral. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in weeks. Part of me felt sorry for him. But a bigger part of me didn't. I miss you, he said. I didn't respond. I know I messed up. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I'm asking anyway. I looked at him, really looked at him. And I didn't feel anything. No love, no anger, just nothing. Do you know what your mother said to me before she died? I asked. He shook his head. She said, when I'm not here anymore, you'll understand everything. I didn't know what she meant, but I do now. He looked down. She spent her last days trying to protect me from you, I continued. She knew what you were doing, she knew you were lying, and it killed her. Literally, the stress of watching you destroy our marriage while pretending to be a good husband. It broke her heart. I know, he whispered. Do you really? Because if you did, you would have stopped, you would have confessed, you would have done something. I was scared. Of what? Losing me? You were already losing me. Every lie, every affair, every time you chose someone else over me, you were losing me. Tears rolled down his face. I'm so sorry. I know you are. But sorry doesn't fix this. He nodded. What do you want me to do? I want you to let me go. He looked at me with red, swollen eyes. I can't, you have to. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. We sat in silence for a long time. Finally, he stood up. If there's anything I can do. There isn't, I said gently. It's over, Michael, we both need to accept that. He walked away, and I watched him go. I thought I would feel something, relief, sadness, anger, but I just felt free. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. It was amicable as much as a divorce can be. We split everything down the middle, sold the house, moved on. Or at least I tried to. It wasn't easy. There were days when I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. Days when I missed him. Days when I questioned everything. But there were also days when I felt strong. Days when I realized I deserved better. Days when I thanked God for Margaret and her courage to tell me the truth. Jennifer became my rock. We grew even closer. She told me stories about Michael's past relationships. How he had cheated on every girlfriend he'd ever had. How Margaret had always hoped he would change. She really loved you, Jennifer said one night. She used to tell me all the time how lucky Michael was to have you. She said you were too good for him. I smiled sadly. I wish she would have told me that. She tried, in her own way. But you know, Mom, she didn't want to hurt anyone. She ended up hurting herself instead. Jennifer nodded. That's what good people do. They carry the weight so others don't have to. I thought about that a lot. About how Margaret had carried the burden of knowing her son's secrets. How it must have torn her apart. I miss her, I whispered. Me too. 1 year after the divorce, I went back to Margaret's grave. I hadn't been there since the funeral. I was too angry, too hurt, but enough time had passed. Enough healing had happened. I sat in the grass next to her headstone and talked to her like she was still there. I'm sorry I didn't listen, I said. I'm sorry I made you carry that secret alone. I'm sorry you died thinking I didn't understand. The wind rustled through the trees. It felt like an answer. But I understand now. I understand everything. And I want you to know. You saved me. Your letter saved me. Your courage saved me. I placed fresh flowers on her grave, yellow roses, her favorite. Thank you, I whispered. For loving me enough to tell me the truth. I sat there for a long time, thinking, praying, healing. When I finally stood to leave, I felt lighter. Like I had set down a weight I didn't even know I was carrying. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. Over the next year, I focused on myself. I went to therapy. I reconnected with old friends. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. I learned what it meant to be alone. And I learned that being alone isn't the same as being lonely. I also learned forgiveness. Not for Michael. Not yet, maybe never, but for myself. I forgave myself for not seeing the signs, for ignoring Margaret's warnings, for believing the lies. Because I realized something important. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't naive. I was trusting. And there's a difference. Trusting someone isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It means you have the courage to love openly, even when it's risky. Michael broke that trust, but he didn't break me. 2 years after the divorce, I ran into him at a coffee shop. It was the first time I'd seen him in person since the divorce was finalized. He looked good, healthy, different. "Hi, Sarah," he said quietly. "Hi, Michael." We stood there awkwardly for a moment. "How have you been?" he asked. "Good, really good actually," he smiled, a genuine smile. "I'm glad. How about you?" "I'm better, I've been in therapy. Working on myself." "That's good." Another pause. "I'm sorry," he said, "for everything. I know I've said it before, but I mean it. You deserved so much better." I nodded. "I did. And I found it." He looked confused. "You're seeing someone?" I smiled. "I'm seeing myself for the first time in a long time." He nodded slowly. That's that's really great, Sarah." And I could tell he meant it. We said goodbye. And this time it didn't hurt. Because I had finally let go. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. It's been 5 years since Margaret died. 5 years since I read that letter. 5 years since my life fell apart and then slowly, painfully, came back together. Looking back now, I can see God's hand in all of it, even the painful parts. Especially the painful parts, because pain has a purpose, it teaches us, it shapes us, it shows us what we're made of. And I learned that I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. I'm not going to lie and say it was easy. It wasn't. There were nights when I cried myself to sleep. Mornings when I didn't want to get out of bed. Continue 1:33 a.m. Days when I questioned everything. But I kept going. One day at a time. One step at a time. And eventually the sun came back out. I started a new job at a nonprofit organization that helps women leaving abusive relationships. It wasn't planned. I just saw a job posting one day and felt like God was nudging me toward it. Working there changed my life. I met women who had been through so much worse than I had. Women who had survived things I couldn't even imagine. And yet, they were some of the strongest, bravest, most beautiful souls I'd ever met. They taught me that survival isn't just about getting through something. It's about becoming someone new on the other side. I also reconnected with my faith. I had drifted away from God during my marriage. I was so focused on being the perfect wife that I forgot to nurture my relationship with Him. But after everything fell apart, I found my way back. I started going to church again, reading my Bible, praying, and I felt His presence in a way I never had before. One Sunday, the pastor preached about betrayal, about how Jesus was betrayed by someone He loved, someone He trusted. And he said something that stuck with me: betrayal doesn't define you, how you respond to it does. I realized that I had a choice. I could stay bitter, I could stay angry. I could let what Michael did define the rest of my life, or I could choose to heal, to forgive, to move forward. I chose healing. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. Forgiving Michael took time. It wasn't a one-time decision, it was a process. Some days I forgave him, other days I was angry all over again, but eventually I reached a place of peace. Not because he deserved my forgiveness, but because I deserved peace. Holding on to anger was like drinking poison and expecting him to die. It only hurt me, so I let it go. I also forgave Margaret. I know that sounds strange, she didn't do anything wrong. But for a while, I was angry at her too. Angry that she didn't tell me sooner. Angry that she let me live in a lie for so long. Angry that she made me find out after she was gone. But then I realized something. She did tell me, in the only way she knew how, through her actions, through her words, through her love. She tried to prepare me, she tried to protect me. And when she knew she was running out of time, she made sure I would know the truth. That took incredible courage. So I forgave her. And I thanked her every single day. Jennifer and I are closer than ever. She's like a sister to me, my real sister. We talk almost every day. We go on trips together, we laugh, we cry. We heal together. She told me once, "You gave our mom peace, Sarah. In her final days, she knew you would be okay. She knew you were strong enough to handle the truth." I hope that's true. I hope Margaret died knowing that her sacrifice wasn't in vain, because it wasn't. Her letter saved me. Her courage changed my life. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. I also learned something important about love. Real love isn't about perfection. It's not about grand gestures or expensive gifts or perfect Instagram photos. Real love is honest. It's faithful. It's kind, it's patient. It doesn't lie, it doesn't cheat. It doesn't make you feel crazy for asking questions. Real love builds you up. It doesn't tear you down. And I deserve that kind of love. We all do. Last year I met someone. His name is David. He's nothing like Michael. He's quiet, thoughtful, gentle. He doesn't try to impress me with fancy dinners or expensive gifts. He impresses me with his consistency, his honesty, his kindness. He knows my story. I told him everything on our third date. I figured if he was going to run, better sooner than later. But he didn't run. He listened, he held my hand, and he said, "Thank you for trusting me with that. We're taking things slow. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm not ignoring red flags. I'm not making excuses, I'm just present, open, hopeful, and it feels good." Margaret would have loved him, I know she would have. Sometimes I talk to her about him. I know that sounds crazy. But I do. I sit in my living room with a cup of tea, and I talk to her like she's sitting right next to me. "I think you'd like him, Margaret. He reminds me of your husband. The way you used to describe him. Kind, steady, real. I like to think she's watching, smiling, proud of me for not settling, for choosing better." One of the biggest lessons I learned through all of this is that God's timing is perfect, even when we can't see it. If Margaret had told me the truth while she was alive, I might not have believed her. I might have defended Michael. I might have pushed her away. But because she waited, because she let me discover the truth when I was ready, I was able to receive it, to process it, to act on it. God knew what I needed, and when I needed it. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. I also learned the power of legacy. Margaret's legacy isn't just her children or her grandchildren, it's the lives she touched. The people she helped, the truth she told, her legacy lives on in me, in the woman I've become, in the courage I found, in the life I'm building, and I'm going to make sure it was worth it. I volunteer at a women's shelter now. I share my story with women who are going through similar situations, women who are married to men who lie, who cheat, who manipulate. And I tell them what Margaret told me: you deserve better, you deserve truth, you deserve love. Some of them leave, some of them stay, but all of them know they have a choice. That's the gift Margaret gave me, the gift of knowing I had a choice. I didn't have to stay, I didn't have to accept the lies, I didn't have to sacrifice my peace for someone else's comfort. I could choose me, and that's exactly what I did. I think about her often, especially on hard days. I think about her strength, her grace, her love. And I try to live in a way that would make her proud. I'm not perfect. I still have bad days, days when I doubt myself, days when I wonder if I made the right choice. But then I remember the woman I was 5 years ago. Broken, lost, living a lie, and I look at the woman I am now, whole, found, living in truth, and I know I made the right choice. If you're reading this, if this story resonates with you, I want you to know something: you are not alone. Whatever you're going through, whatever secret you're carrying, whatever truth you're avoiding, you're not alone, and you deserve to know the truth, even if it hurts, even if it changes everything. Because living in a lie is not living, it's surviving, and you were made for more than survival. You were made to thrive. Margaret taught me that. She gave her life to teach me that. And I will spend the rest of my life honoring that lesson. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. So here I am, 5 years later, healed, happy, whole. I have a job I love, a man who respects me, a sister who supports me, a faith that grounds me. I have peace, and that's worth more than any perfect marriage, any perfect house, any perfect life, because it's real. Michael and I don't talk anymore. We've both moved on, and that's okay. I don't wish him harm. I don't hope for his failure. I genuinely hope he finds peace. I hope he learns from his mistakes. I hope he becomes the man his mother always wanted him to be. But that's not my responsibility anymore. He's not my responsibility anymore. My only responsibility is to myself, to my healing, to my future, and I'm taking that responsibility seriously. I'm learning to love myself, to trust myself, to believe in myself. I'm learning that I don't need someone else to complete me. I'm already complete. I'm learning that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means being free. Free to become whoever I want to be. Free to chase whatever dreams I have. Free to live on my own terms. And that freedom, it's beautiful. Margaret gave me that, her letter, her truth, her love, she set me free, and I will be forever grateful. So if you're in a situation where something doesn't feel right, where you have that little voice in the back of your mind telling you something's wrong, listen to it. Don't ignore it. Don't make excuses. Don't convince yourself you're being paranoid. Listen, because that voice, that's God, that's your intuition. That's the part of you that knows the truth even when you don't want to admit it. And that voice will save you, if you let it. Margaret's voice saved me, even after she was gone. Even through a letter, her courage gave me courage. Her strength gave me strength. Her love gave me love. And now I'm passing that on, to you, to anyone who needs to hear it. You are strong enough. You are brave enough. You are worthy enough to know the truth, to face the truth, to live in the truth. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until someone you love dies before you listen. Listen now, act now, choose yourself now because you deserve it. If these stories feel real to you, please subscribe. And this is where my story ends tonight. Life doesn't always give us answers right away. Sometimes, God asks us to stay patient, stay kind, and stay silent, not because we are weak, but because He sees what others do not. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to reflect. Maybe someone needed this reminder today. Thank you for listening with an open heart. May God see every silent struggle and replace pain with peace. Until next time, this was Voice of Auntie Universe.